Okay, I had to press go live. Yikes. Sorry, y'all. I was talking to all of you and I was like, why is no one in the chat responding? This is my very first time live streaming on YouTube. I've done classes on a platform called Volume. And oh, thank you, Peter. I'm so glad it sounds good. Look, when I exported that video yesterday and posted it, I was appalled at what it sounded like. And I'm like, well, if I turn the mic input higher, these guys are gonna be getting nothing but noise. And so I talked to my hubby, who is experienced, well, more experienced than I am with OBS and with streaming on YouTube, and he gave me some points. I didn't know that OBS Studio had plugins for audio. I thought they only had video plugins. So yeah, I was able to get a noise gate and a compressor onto this bad boy, and now my speaking audio is very clean. Now, my setup here, audio-wise in OBS, is still very rough. I have a duplicate channel for music because for some reason the plugins on I can't use the same plugins for my voice as I do when I play my Cigar box guitar. It sounds like crap, so I'll be switching between channels and it's going to be a little annoying, but I appreciate all of you being here. Adriano, Peter, Maria, Wayfair, my husband, Lawrence. I'm so glad that you are all here. And I'm just gonna do one more little sound check before I open up the camera and become even more awkward. So I'm gonna switch to my music channel and you guys can tell me whether things are sounding good or sounding wonky. Here we go. All right. Doo-doo-doo. Yeah, mic noise there. Sound check, sound check. Sound check, sound check. And I'm making a switch. Okay, I've made a switch. Okay. Ooh. I saw a bit of clipping there. Sorry about that. A little distorted. Okay, I'm too loud. Okay, I'm gonna turn down the amp and I'm gonna turn down the amp and we'll try again. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Let's see. Okay, here we go again, watching the meters a little better this time. Let me see. See here. Let's lower the input on this mic. Perfect. Really? Okay. Well, all I had to do was move the mic away from the Joyo amp. Okay, I think we're ready. I think I'm ready to go on camera. Here we go. All right, making a switcheroo here. Making a switcheroo. Okay, 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 okay. Level good, but I am hearing a little electronic noise. Okay. All right, audio mixer. Hey, common people, welcome. Wow. Alrighty, guys. I'm so sorry about the rough way my audio setup is. It's gonna be a back and forth thing until I could find a way to automate. I thought I was going to be able to. What was that? What what's bearable? Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, my husband was just telling me, "Dad, just keep going. The little electronic noise is, you know, it's bearable. No worries." Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to try to get the cleanest audio for you moving forward in the stream, and I'm going to try to be able to automate scene changes when it comes to audio in the next streams. I got to dig into OBS to see how to do that. So, okay, good to go. Let's go. Let's have a CBG lesson. Let's talk about what we're going to do today. I'm going to change scenes. I'm in the right area, scene 1. Okay. Hi guys. Here's another thing. I am set up in a way where I cannot see the chat. So I won't be acknowledging the chat in this segment. I have a second computer which I have to repair, which was originally going to be used for live streaming on YouTube, and it's set up behind the camera. But I have to get that computer repaired before I can see the chat and talk to you guys at the same time on camera. So anyways, blah, 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 troubleshooting. Let's talk about first CBG lesson. Today, we're going to talk about tuning. And here's the game plan, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see if you guys can see that all right. Okay, let me bring the mic closer to me so you can hear what I'm saying. All right, here's the game plan. So part 1 of this stream, we're going to talk about tuning by ear, which is totally appropriate for solo playing. All right. So in order to tune a 3-string cigar box guitar, we need the following relationships between the strings. We need a perfect fifth between strings 1 and 2, and then we need a perfect fourth between strings 2 and 3, and then that'll result in strings 1 and 3 forming a perfect octave. Now I'm gonna show you 2 ways to achieve that tuning by ear, and by the way, this is called open tuning. This is open tuning for 3-string cigar box guitars. All right. Now, the first method is the easiest method, but it doesn't develop your listening skills, which you'll need to develop if you want to cultivate other skills on the cigar box guitar. All right, so we're gonna go over the easy method first so you can just get up and running and playing, and then we're going to go over the method I call the do sol do method. All right, and these syllables are referring to movable do solfeggio, and I will talk a little bit about how that works. Okay, the second part of the stream, we will be talking about how to tune your fretless 3-string CBG using an app called Panel Tuner. All right, and when you tune with this app, you're going to be seeing what pitch, what frequencies exactly you're producing. We're shooting for specific frequencies, for specific pitch classes, all right? And tuning with Panel Tuner will help you play with an ensemble, all right? Because in order to play with an ensemble, you all gotta be in the same key. And these guitars, these 3-string fretless guitars, really can only function in one key at a time. Um, all right, so we'll talk about Panel Tuner and how we can get that working for you to give you the ability to play in ensembles. Panel Tuner, by the way, is not a guitar tuner. Remember, it's called a cigar box guitar, but it really is its own instrument. Panel Tuner is used just to identify fundamental pitch, you know? It's a pitch tracker. That's all it is, but that's all we need to get ourselves tuned to the right key on a CBG. And when I'm talking about the right key, and I mean it's I mean these instruments are a little more flexible. I mean you can play in, when I mean you can play in one key, it means that you can play in a key and all of its parallel keys. For example, if you tune your 3-string CBG to C, which would mean you have strings 1 and 3 be a C, an octave apart, and strings 2 be a G, that means that you can play in C major, C minor, C Dorian, C Phrygian, C Mixolydian. You can play in all of the C modes you want. All right, but if you're playing a set, and I found this to be the most useful thing to do if you're going to play with other people and you're not just playing one song or not just playing all songs in one key, you're going to want to have multiple CBGs tuned to the different keys you need to play your set. Anyways, that is the game plan for today. We're going to start with tuning by ear for solo playing. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about the fret 7 to fret 5 method. And I'm going to do a little audio scene switch here. And you're going to hear a little bit more noise because I wasn't able to apply the noise gate to I guess the channel set up to pick up my guitar. For some reason, the noise gate X's out all of my guitars for some reason. And okay, so you're gonna hear a little bit more noise in this setting. I apologize again. Still learning how to get this to work smoothly, properly, and enjoyably for you guys. So, by the way, I should turn around and see what you guys are saying. If you, let me take questions. I should take questions at this moment before we jump into the lesson. All right, gonna make a quick switcheroo here. You're gonna see the back of my head. Sorry, guys. Again, in the future, I'm gonna have the chat in front of me once I get that other computer repaired. All right. Okay. All right, testing 1, 2, 3. All right, chat. Any questions about our game plan today, or need clarification about any of the topics that we are going to cover? Any terms you're unfamiliar with? Let me know. Let me know. I'm looking at you right now. You guys talking about haggis, don't make me hungry. Oh gosh. Okay. Adriano, that's a good suggestion. I could use my cell phone to look at the chat. Why didn't I think of that? Okay, that is a good solution. Let me pull up YouTube on my cell phone and then look at you guys. Oh, no, I got it. I could get it up. Oh, okay. My husband hands over his phone. Okay. All right. Okay. What a simple solution. Why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I think of this? Okay. All right. All right. Okay. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions before we move forward? By the way, if you are lurking, watching the video, and but you would like to participate in the chat, to ask questions, to join in on the conversation, to join in on the fun, you have to subscribe to the channel. I have it on subscribers mode only just because, it helps me keep everything civil, keep trolls out, and you know, we're less likely to have trolling happening in the chat if they have to wait 10 minutes to participate in the chat. But if you're not subscribed, subscribe now, and in 10 minutes you'll be able to participate in the chat. Okay. So what about the strings you use? Are those guitar strings? Yes. Um the CBG that I was playing right now was using phosphor bronze strings from an acoustic guitar set. Those um those are my go-to strings, the phosphor bronze, whether I'm stringing up a baritone, as the one that you heard, or a soprano. Those are the strings that I like. The strings, however, that feel best on my hands, that allow me to play for longer sets, are wound nylon strings. But of course, wound nylons are only appropriate for baritone CBGs because, the soprano or the higher strings in the set are nylon, and they don't project very well on these instruments that have relatively small resonators. So phosphor bronze are my go-to strings, but a lot of people like using the 80/20s, the brass strings, and those really cut well. They can stand out in an ensemble, but I like the tone of phosphor bronze, and usually when I play, I'm plugged in, so I go for the tone and not so much what projects acoustically. Although it's nice to have an instrument that projects, something that my husband is delivering it. Okay, thank you. Let me. He's delivering the guitar that I built for him in case I needed. This is his baritone, and this one has wound nylon strings. I mean, I could play if I could play this one and the one I was playing back to back, and you guys can decide, oh, I like the tone of that one, or oh, I like that one has a better feel. So we'll see. Let me put this guy in a place where he won't fall down. Okay. Okay. I'm trying to get the chat back. Great, thank you. So, okay. All right. I do not know how to use my husband's phone. It doesn't respond like my iPhone does. Let's see. Okay. All right. Let's get to the lesson. Let's get to the lesson, and then I'll check the chat as we move forward. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to switch to music mode here. And the audio settings, cut late, lower third. Okay. You're gonna hear the AC rattling in the back. My apologies. All right. Let's look at the fret 7, fret 5 method. And I'm gonna use one of my baritones in this demo. Amp turned itself off. What is going on? My amp is now acting up on camera. It has never done this before. Man, when things go wrong, they go wrong, my friends. Guys, this Joyo amp has never let me down. It was working a moment ago, and now it decides it's gonna stop working on my live stream. Incredible. Incredible. All right. Oh, my husband brought in.
Bring in everything that works.
He's bringing in everything that works here. See that? I got us. What a disastrous stream. Guys, didn't I promise you a disastrous stream? I did. I deliver on my promises. Okay. All right. I'm gonna double check to see it isn't a piezo problem here. Troubleshooting. Okay. This should be. Let me see here. Okay. I'm gonna switch guitars. Let's see if we get some sound. I charged my Joyo last night, so No, this baby ain't working. The Joyo isn't working. It isn't my guitars. All right. Let me plug it in and see if it's a power issue. Troubleshooting. Okay. All right. Okay.
Peter's gonna try the cable.
Okay, no, I'm getting a buzz. Okay. I'm getting a buzz. So I plugged in the Joyo. It looks like it needed power. Thing is, I remember charging it last night, so maybe I left it plugged in and the battery drained. That happens with rechargeable things. I mean, that amp has been so reliable. I wouldn't have produced a video about it if it was a crappy amp. So I just won't charge it up again until it drains its battery. Just keeping the battery healthy, I guess. Okay, so, but I charged it to avoid a failure during the stream. And what did I have? A failure during the stream. So, okay. Let's get back to the lesson. Let's check for clipping. Don't want to do that. All right. How's the level, chat? How's the level? Okay. Okay, Peter, thank you. Awesome. Alrighty. Okay, first and foremost, let me make sure I'm completely in the frame here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You guys can see everything perfect. All right. Basics first. 3-string cigar box guitar, fretless, no frets. You need a slide to play this guitar. I like glass, Pyrex specifically, and ceramic. What you're seeing here is one of my DIY terracotta slides. Yes, I made this. If you haven't seen my DIY terracotta video, please check it out. Now, when I build CBGs, I make the string height very, very high. And that allows me to use the slide on the instrument without making too much noise. I mean, this is a noisy sucker. When you play this thing, it's gritty. But if your string height is high, you won't get so many of these type of noises on the guitar while you're playing. So I like a pretty high string height. Alrighty. Now, when you play this thing, you don't have to press into the strings. You don't have to dig your slide in to get the sound out. Very, very little amount of pressure is required for you to make the sounds you want on this thing. If you have a guitar or if you have a CBG in front of you, just the pressure you need to do that's the pressure you need to play this thing. It's very, very casual, very, very relaxed type of playing. Oops. very relaxed type of playing. Alrighty. Okay, so that's just the very basics of how to get a sound out of it. When I go out to craft markets, sometimes people ask me, can you give me a little lesson? Because I don't want to buy this guitar unless I feel like I can do something on it, that I can become a good player. I want to get a feel for the instrument. So what I have them do is I tell them, take the slide, make sure that it's not inserted all the way down into your finger, that it's kind of hovering above your knuckle, like that. I use my middle finger. You could use your index finger. You could use your pinky. You can use any finger that you're comfortable using. This is just the finger I'm comfortable using. All right. And what I have them do is just do a slide on one string, on the last string. And then I ask them, once they get a nice slide going, I ask them to stop on a note. And what I mean by a note is, on my CBGs, I have hidden fret markers on the side. On older builds, I also have the fret markers going across the front of the fingerboard. But on my newer instruments, I just have the hidden fret markers on the side. I ask them to stop on a fret. Now, something to be aware of, when you count frets on a CBG, all right, for example, if you want to play flat 3, let me get my other CBG, you could see it better. Well, actually, here's the neck of one that I'm building. Okay, if I wanted to play flat 3, I wouldn't play the fret before the cymbal. I play the fret after the cymbal. So this is flat 3. This is scale degree 4. This is scale degree 5, 6, and so forth. Okay? So when I ask them to, when you're shooting for a note, it's like stop on flat 3, that would be the 3rd fret. Okay? All over the place, guys. All right, so I ask them to do a slide and stop on a note that they want. I'm going to shoot for the octave right here. And once you're comfortable doing that, you could add a little vibrato to the note by just moving the slide side to side. Again, you don't need to apply much pressure. It's a very relaxed type of playing. All right. Okay. So I start them off by doing that. And once they're comfortable getting sounds out of individual strings, then I ask them to play chords, grabbing all strings at the same time with the slide. I say chords in quotations because technically when you're playing bars, bar chords on a 3-string cigar box guitar tuned to in open tuning, you're not really playing chords because you're missing the 3rd in the sonority. And so you just have the root in the 5th. And that's cool because that gives you flexibility to imply any type of harmony without much effort. But anyway, after I have them do the melodic slide, then I have them do a bar slide. And then the next thing, once they get comfortable sliding, most people don't get this far. They have to practice a little and get a feel for it, but some do. Some I've had a kid get ready for this step. All right? And that is to play I Am a Man riff. And that is basically a bar chord pattern on the 5th fret and the 3rd fret. So anyway, you can't do any of this, however, until you tune the damn thing. So let's talk about the fret 7, fret 5 tuning method. All right. And the reason I went through all the slide techniques is because you're gonna have to place your slide on the strings to figure out the tuning. This is one method to tune by ear. All right. And this method again is appropriate for solo playing. All right. So again, the relationships that you need. You need a perfect 5th here between strings 1 and 2. That's the Star Wars interval. Da 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 da. If you can sing Star Wars after playing those first 2 strings, you got your tuning right. All right? And then you need a perfect 4th between the 2nd and 3rd string. Perfect 4th, a song reference for that. Here comes the bride, here comes the bride. So if you can sing that, you got a perfect 4th. And then you want to check your 1st string against your 3rd string and make sure you have a perfect octave. And it should sound like one note. A perfect octave, there should be no beating in a perfect octave. It's the only pure interval in our tuning system, by the way. So you want to get that right. Okay? So how do we achieve this? All right? By ear, without having to use the do sol do method. All right? Okay. If you place your slide on fret number 7 on the 1st string, let me grab that 1st string. You will get the pitch for the 2nd string. Again, if you place your slide on fret number 7 or on fret marker number 7 on the 1st string, you will get the pitch of the 2nd string. And if they don't match, you make adjustments. Let's talk about the headstock for a moment, because you got to know how to make those adjustments. A lot of CBG builders have tuning pegs on the left side and the right side of the neck. All right. When you have this configuration, the direction you move the peg has a different effect on the string. For example, all the pegs on the left side, on the side closest to you, if you want to turn your pitch up, you turn the peg away from you. You turn the peg up. if you want to lower the pitch, you bring the peg towards you. You turn it in. Now the opposite is true of the pegs on the right side, the ones that are furthest away from you when you're playing. The tuning pegs on the right side, if you want to go up in pitch, you turn them inward, you turn them down. Up in pitch, down. I'm making faces because I don't want this to pop. Well, let me tune it down. Oh, I was detuning the wrong one. So you see? Let me take off my slide so there isn't so much tapping. So again, recap. When you want to tune up on the left side, you turn it up. When you want to tune down on the left side, you tune it down. On the right side, when you want to tune up, you turn the pegs down. When you want to tune down, you turn the pegs up. Yeah, and so that's common practice when stringing up and tuning up a guitar using left and right tuning pegs. Now, sometimes the configuration is you may have two pegs on this side and one on this side. The rule still applies. It doesn't matter if there's just one on this side and two on this side, or two on this side and one on this side. The rule still applies. All right? So again, here, you want to tune up, go up. Here, you want to tune up, go down. All right? Okay, so I detuned this thing pretty badly just now. I'm a little out of tune. Let's make it more out of tune so we could really practice our fret 7, fret 5 tuning. Let me just really mess this up. Oh, yeah, that's really out of tune and nasty. Okay. We definitely don't have the relationships we need anymore. Okay. So again, we need a perfect fifth between this string and this string. And first things first. First things first. How can I forget? We need to decide what pitch we want this string to be in. I like that low note, but it's gonna be a little too garbly, so I'm gonna turn it up. I'm gonna turn it up. And again, since this is the left peg, I'm gonna turn it up to go up. Okay, that's a nice note to be tuned to on this guitar. Okay, now I want to know what the middle string is going to sound like. So I'm going to take my slide and place my slide on fret number 7. That's the note I need. And coincidentally, I match. So I don't have to do anything with that middle string. Now, if I want the pitch of the last string, I'm going to place my slide on fret number 5 on the middle string. That is lower in pitch. We do not match. gonna turn this guy up. Now, this string has the peg on the right side. So if I want to go up, I have to turn my peg down. All right, so here's number 5. Okay, we match. Now let's check to see that we have a perfect octave between first string and third string. Yeah, we do. All right. So that's the fret 7, fret 5 method. I'm going to check your questions. I'm going to check your questions. Checking your questions in the chat. All right. Okay. Any questions, guys? I'm looking at the chat right now. Any questions?
Princess Fiona was asking about a capo. She suggested a string capo using a bolt. Maybe you could talk to her about that a little bit.
Oh, okay. Princess Fiona had a question about a capo or capo. I've always heard it pronounced capo, so I'll say that. Lauren says capo, I say capo, okay? Anyway. So, can you apply a capo to... Well, the thing is, if I were to build instruments with a normal string height, yeah, you could get a capo to work on the thing, but with you would have a very hard time applying a capo to something with such a high string height. And so when I was playing with the when I attended one of the song farmers meetings and had to play in different keys, what I would have needed to do was the dulcimer thing, what dulcimer players do, and is bring multiple instruments and have the different instruments tuned to different keys. Now, every CBG builder approaches string height a different way, and those that build fretted instruments use a much lower string height than I do. I don't build fretted instruments because I don't play fretted instruments. Fretting to me, I'm not a guitarist. I like this relaxed type of playing that doesn't put any tension on my hands and on my body. And I've been able to get more mileage playing with just one finger and a slide than when I was taking guitar lessons and trying to make all these weird configurations with my hands. But anyways, builders that build instruments with lower string height, I bet you can just apply a regular capo to that. But these guys, high string height, I don't think you can get that to work and have it sound good. You'd be muting the instrument a lot. Now, I'm not saying don't try it, don't experiment. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I don't think it'll work. If you've purchased an instrument that, if you purchased an instrument like my instruments, I would suggest, have multiple instruments tuned to different keys and bring them to gigs, tune them to the keys you need, and yeah, do the dulcimer thing. That's a good question. Good questions. Good questions. Yes, sir.
Common People wants to know why 3 strings instead of 6, and then Peter wants to know why not tune one of the strings so that you can play thirds and do triads.
Okay.
So 2 questions.
All right. my husband is opening the door and basically, I don't need to look at the chat. He should be in the same room with me and just read off the chat to me. Yes. So, good questions. Somebody at, who was it? Depends on, I'll ask her. I forgot who it was who asked about why not tune a third so that you could play triads. Well, here's the thing. You can use as many alternate tunings on this guy you like, and if you're trying, if you, it depends again. It depends on what you're trying to achieve, but the most versatile way to use this instrument is in the open tuning, because with the open tuning you can imply any key you want and you can switch between any mode that you want at any time. All right, I can be in now there are two triads that I can play. This is the one chord. This is a real one chord, and I'm just stopping the third fret on the last string. I'm implying that I'm in a minor key now by actually playing minor 1 triad. And now, half step higher. From that, I'm implying the major mode. But the thing is, I can only do it with the one chord. But the thing is, you can weave in and out of any mode that you want if you keep this open tuning. You won't be able to do that if all you're playing is triads. You won't even be able to play in a particular key if all that you're able to produce with bar chords are triads, because again, if you want to achieve something melodically that can't be achieved with this tuning, go for it. If you like being able to just play all major chords, but if you want to be in a particular key, for example, if you want to be in a major key, in order to imply that major key, you have to play that's a good question, and I wasn't prepared for it. Major keys have minor chords in them, and you won't be able to access those minor chords if all of your triads are major. I mean, you might be able to, with the slide, stop a note and create maybe 1 or 2 minor chords that you need. But I mean, it's more work than it's worth. Something that I have done just for funsies is that I have my perfect fifth here, and then I tuned. Instead of creating an octave between the first and the third note, I created a minor seventh and a major seventh. Well, not a minor seventh, because that implies a dominant seventh, and that really limits what you could do. But again, you can make, what am I saying? You can make anything work musically so long as you set up the right context. All of music is contextual. There are no rules to music. The only rule is if you're going to use certain sounds and create, like, it's like world building. You gotta stay consistent within that world if your story is going to be convincing. The same with music. You can make anything work with music so long as you define your musical world, that you everything music, you can make anything work because music is contextual. But if you just want to be able to play with your friends and strum out songs that you like, that popular songs. Most songs in the radio are in major or minor keys or major and minor modes. And you won't be able to imply the major and minor chords that you'll want to play those songs unless you have a cool open tuning, right? You won't be able to get those chords that you want to play if for example, if all your bar chords are major, or if all your bar chords are minor. Does that answer your question? Was it common people's question? I know I was all over the place with that. Let me know if you guys need clarification. Okay. Seems to like messing with channels. I don't know why, but the last couple of weeks... Oh, okay, I'm sorry. All right. Wayfair Project. Was that common people's question? Oh, okay. Peter asked that. Sorry, Peter. All right. Yes, it did. Okay, good. Good. Cool beans. Now, this will make far more sense when we actually start playing songs together. Okay? You're going to get more mileage out of this instrument with open tuning, hands down. Okay? And there was another question, Wayfair Project. Tell me.
We've been chatting with each other about a bunch of things, but common people asked why only 3 strings?
Oh, why? Okay, common people had a good question. Why only 3 strings? Well, some cigar box guitar players build 4-string instruments. Some, builders build 4-string instruments. Some even build 6-string instruments. Why only 3 strings? Well, with fretless, you don't want to introduce a 4th string because this is all you need. All right. If you're going to play a fretless cigar box guitar, open tuning is what you want. Maybe adding another string would give you a doubling of one of these notes that you already have, so why add it? And again, this tuning gives you the most mileage. Trust me, it does. But a lot of builders do build 4-string and 6-string cigar box guitars, but usually those are fretted. They're basically guitars. I like building this simple instrument. Not because it's more authentic, to each his own. Historically, these are how the original cigar box guitars were built. Well, with maybe just 2 strings. The 3rd string didn't become commonplace until the modern day, actually. So 1 to 2 strings is what was used historically on this instrument, and fretless. All right. I like building these simple instruments, not because they're historical or anything, again, to each his own, because I'm not a guitarist and it's much easier to play, with just a slide, 1 finger. There's so much you could do with these 3 strings and 1 finger. It's amazing. because that'll set off copyright alarms. But if I ever do a live type of show, it would be on the platform volume.com. Shout out to Maria who told me about Volume. They have ASCAP and BMI and CSAC deals. So, you know, musicians can do covers, live stream covers on there safely. And then I could repost on YouTube because I am a member of something called We Are the Hits. And they basically give you a sync license for covers, but that's for fixed content. Yes, sir.
Tyler asked about one strings.
One strings. Oh, diddly bows. The one stringers, the original, those are called diddly bows. I've only built 2 diddly bows. Why? Because they're more difficult to play. I'll show you why. Yeah, right. All right. I think next stream I'm gonna have Lawrence in the same room. This is my favorite diddly bow. This is the most authentic instrument of all of my builds. All right. And yeah, you could build one string cigar box guitar. In fact, these were the original. And but the thing is, I don't build too many of these. Why? Because diddly bows are hard to play. Why are they hard to play? Because if you're not a master at rhythm, and I know that I am not, it's really hard to get something cool coming out of this. Let me show you. All right. Whereas with the other one, you know, I can strum chords, do some singing. Here, you really gotta be a rhythmic master and a strumming master. See, I need more practice. Diddly bow, very cool, very cool. If you are a master at rhythm, you are going to love this little thing. Me, I gotta work on this guy to really get some mileage out of it. So, me as a singer, someone who likes to accompany themselves while they sing, I like the 3 stringers. They're simpler to play. Believe it or not, they're simpler to play. Good question.
Peter wants you to improvise something.
On the diddly bow?
Probably the cigar box.
Okay. All right. Okay. Little deviation from the lesson here, but I don't mind improvising a little for you guys. I'm gonna go and pick up one of my favorite CBGs, and this is a soprano instrument. I call it a soprano instrument. Here is one of my sopranos. Now the difference between my baritone instruments and my soprano instruments has nothing to do with the size. As you can see, this soprano has the same scale length as my baritone. But what makes this a soprano is the strings that I choose for it. This guy uses the lower 3 strings of an acoustic guitar, and this guy uses the higher 3 strings of an acoustic guitar, and this is what I call a soprano. Now, I build more sopranos than I do baritones, because the high frequencies created by these strings could be carried well acoustically with small boxes. Now, this box choice wasn't ideal for for these strings. For the bass strings on the guitar, it would have been nice to have a box that was at least 8 inches long, or 8 to 9.5 inches long. That would have been great. But cigar boxes of that size are harder to find. So that's why I build more Sopranos, because it's, you know, it's easier to source smaller boxes. And since I'm using piezo pickups, the resonance does matter. You will hear a cleaner bass when you build with bigger boxes over an amp when you're building with piezo pickups. Alright, so this is my soprano. I will do a little bit of improvising upon Peter's request. Alright. And then we'll get back to the lesson. How long have we been streaming for, guys? This disastrous stream. How long have we been streaming for? I don't know. I don't see where I can find that information on YouTube right now. I'll figure it out. All right. Here we go. Make sure we're in tune. One of my lights went out. I hope that was all right, Peter. And I could do a little improv on the baritone if you want. You know what's fun on baritones? Distortion. Here we go. This always draws a crowd in craft markets. Some distortion on the baritones. Let's see. All right. Let's make sure I'm not clipping here, though. Whoa, it's a little hot. Okay. Okay, definitely a little hot. I'm not very good with a pick. I can do a lot of things just here. sounds really good with distortion. Okay, I gotta prepare some music for you guys. Anyway. Put me on the spot there, Peter. No, but I don't mind. I don't mind. I like messing around. Alrighty. Oh, thank you, Adriano. That's so very nice. So many colors. Very, very true. Very, very true. And let me tell you something, Peter. You won't be able to get those colors out of a magnetic pickup. Those of you who are thinking of building CBGs and are thinking magnetic pickup, I see most players use magnetic pickup. The acoustic resonance of the instrument, of this rough and tumble instrument, doesn't get picked up by magnetic pickups. It's just electromagnetic induction between the pickup and the strings, and you get no character from the box itself. You get a very clean sound with magnetic pickups, and if that's what you want, go for magnetic pickups. But if you want these colorful, dirty sounds, go piezo. I've produced a few videos about piezo pickups. I have a big video about piezo preamps that give you the truest sound from your piezo pickup. Right now, I'm not using the preamp because I'm masking all of the tonal issues from the piezo pickup using the tone controls on my Joyo amp. But when I record my CBGs direct into my audio interface, I always use my piezo preamp to get the truest sound that I can out of my box. Now, I'm planning to make improvements on that preamp. If you go back to my piezo preamp video and you really pay attention to that parametric equalizer, you see that a lot of my top frequencies are missing from my recordings, and that's I've recently discovered. Again, I'm an audio electronics enthusiast, but I'm not an engineer. And I recently learned that the electrolytic capacitors are sucking up all of my high frequencies, and I did some research on how to get those high frequencies back, and so I'll be purchasing some small value film capacitors to bypass, to bypass those capacitors, to give the electricity another route to go through, so we can get those high frequencies back. Also, another improvement I'll be making to the piezo preamp, so that we don't have to apply an 80 hertz cutoff every time we want to use the preamp. I'm going to build that 80 hertz cutoff built in by switching out the bleed resistor on the preamp. So guys, that that project has been a long time coming. I just haven't gone around to it. It's just like this live stream about playing the CVG. I've been meaning to do this forever, and now is when I'm getting to it. But I have a list of all the topics and all the things that I want to build. I have so many projects that I want to tackle, and of course I'll be sharing all of those things here on YouTube. So anyway, now let's get back to tuning. All right, let's talk about the do sol do method. The do sol do method. Again, I'm referencing, or not referencing, I'm actually using movable do solfeggio. This is how movable do works. I set up a little chart for you guys here. All right. In movable do, do is always scale degree 1. Whether you're in a major, minor, Dorian, Phrygian, Mixolydian key, do is always scale degree 1. All right. Now, the reason I like movable do is because you only need to learn one reference in order to play or hear relationships, any type of relationships you want in music. And that reference is the major scale. Most of us, whether we use the syllables or not, can sing the major scale up and down. Whether it be do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Or if you're using numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Or if you're just going la 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 la. Most of us in the audience can sing a major scale, and because if you can sing it, you can hear it. And you can contextualize what you hear. All right. And so in movable do training, you learn how to sing the major scale very, very, very well, up and down, and then skip around on all the scale degrees. There's another pattern that in the past, when I used to teach ear training, I would go through with my students so they really get a feel for the relationships of the scale degrees of the major scale. To clarify, these syllables represent relationships in music. They do not represent pitch classes or specific frequencies. That's how fixed do is used. That's the European system. And unless you were born with perfect pitch, that system won't work well for you. All right. This system helps you, gives you a reference point on how to hear, recognize relationships in music by ear without having to look at a score or anything. All right. So the pattern that I used to teach, and I didn't make this pattern up, I learned it from a teacher who taught me ear training. And this helped me, this pattern is what helped me really, really hear the relationships between the scale degrees. Do, re, mi, re, do, fa, mi, re, do, sol, la, ti, do, do. If you guys, you could sing along, sing the pattern along with me if you like. If you can sing this pattern, you'll be able to hear things better. Now, we're gonna use this for tuning for now, but if you decide to use this method for tuning your instrument, you're preparing yourself to do other things with a cigar box guitar. For example, if you want to learn a riff, or you want to learn a melody on the cigar box guitar, but can't find any info on how to play it online. Well, if you could hear the scale degrees, the relationships between the notes of that melody, you can pick it out on the guitar, especially if you have a handy dandy fret hidden fret markings like mine that include the scale degrees of your cigar box guitar. Again, this instrument only works in one key, so it's okay to have scale degree markings on the side. All right. And so this is how these scale degrees translate into the solfeggio. Do is obviously scale degree 1, re scale degree 2. In a major key, mi is scale degree 3, me in a minor key is flat 3. Fa, scale degree 4, scale degree 4. Sol, scale degree 5. La is scale degree 6 in the major key, but if you flatten La, you get flat 6, and flat 6 is lay. All right. We have T. That's scale degree 7 in a major key. In a minor key, we have flat 7. We don't have scale degree 7. We have flat 7 is a half step lower. So we use te as a syllable for that, and then we're back to do. That's how the syllables translate to the scale degrees that are on the fret markings on the side of my cigar box guitars. But anyways, let's do our scale degree recognition exercise, and we prepare for that, singing the scale up and down and then singing the pattern. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, and then do our pattern. Do, re, do, fa, mi, re, do, sol, la, ti, do, do. Now we have the relationships ingrained in us. So if I skip around on the major scale, I bet you'll be able to pick it out. So this is do, fa, mi, sol, ti, do, la, sol. Okay? All right. Actually, this reference method is very, very ancient. It's was invented by a medieval monk called Guido. His name was Guido de Arezzo, and he was a choir master. And he had a task of having to teach, all the kids in his choir, songs that they needed to perform in service, and those songs would change every Sunday and every season, depending on what they were doing. So he had to devise a method of teaching music to these kids in the choir very quickly, and so he developed solfeggio, and what solfeggio does, what it still does, is teaches you the relationships between the scale degrees. So when you look at a piece of music and you see a jump between notes or a step between notes, you know exactly what that sounds like, and you can produce it. You can either sing it or reproduce it on an instrument, in our case. All right, and but the reference pattern that Guido de Arezzo used was a song. It was an actual song, and it went like this: Utque at laxis resonare fibris, mira gestorum, famuli tuorum, solve voluti, labire atum, Sancte Ioannes. Now you probably, if you probably heard where our solfeggio syllables come from. Well, ut is do. In some Germanic countries, they still use ut. Utque laxis, resonare fibris, mira gestorum, famuli tuorum, solve voluti, labire atum. So you see, by learning this song, Guido taught the kids the relationship between the scale degrees of a piece of music in a particular. Well, back then the musical system was very different. You know, my friend Maria was basically a musicologist. She's in the chat and she can really go off on this for you guys. And in fact, maybe she will. Maybe she'll start a YouTube channel that talks music history. I don't know. Hint, hint, Maria. Anyway. All right. So Guido taught the relationships between scale degrees using that song. Our method is much shorter. Do, re, mi, re, do, fa, mi, re, do, sol, la, ti, do, do. I bet you know what that sounds like. According to the context we set up, sol, mi, fa, ti, re, do. Now, keeping this context in mind, say we're tuning a CBG. We need 151 to tune a CBG by ear, meaning we need do, sol, do. So if this is do, we're going to select this as our first string do. You could already hear the second sound in your head without using the fret method. Sol, do. You already know what it sounds like even before touching a fret marker on your fingerboard. Oh, sorry, I slapped the mic. All right. And again, this method, I mean, if you haven't had any ear training before, might be a little cumbersome, but trust me, later, when we're talking about, okay, how to figure out how to play riffs you like without having to look up any music or anything, this is what you're going to need. So might as well get used to using it now. Okay, let's detune a CBG and let's use the do, sol, do method. Okay. Here is a bugger that loves to be out of tune. Whoa. All the time. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. I'm gonna sell this guy at a discount next time I end up at a crafts market because the wood was a little weak here and the pegs tend to bend out of place when I tune it up or down. So this guy doesn't keep his tuning very well. So you have to constantly be tuning this guy. And again, that's why I'm selling him at my next market at a discount. but gives us the opportunity to really play. My other guys hold their tuning super well. Sometimes it's the luck of the draw when you go and buy a piece of pine board to build your CBG. Some pine boards have, you know, are really strong, and some have knots in them and have other weaknesses in them that and you end up with unexpected problems like this. But anyway, that's the life of a CBG builder. Anyway, so let's tune this guy. Now first and foremost, we have to pick what our dough is. Let's make this a little higher because this seems a little warbly of a dough. I don't want a warbly dough, so let's pick this up in pitch. And again, to tune up from the left side, I'm turning up. Wait, I should plug this guy in. How insensitive of me. I forgot to plug in my CBG. This guy, however, is very acoustically very resonant because, again, these are brass strings. They cut really well. But let's plug them in anyways. And let's take off the distortion on them. Gain. Alright. Alright. Let's plug this guy in. It's beautiful. It's totally out of tune. Alright. Okay. Alright. Let's pick a dough. We need to pick a dough. Let me make sure this is all coming out right on the camera. By the way, guys, I don't know if I've mentioned this earlier in the stream, but I am not an expert player. I am not a guitarist. I have a playlist on my channel where I'm going to be posting these lives after I edit them a little and take out all the weird and awkward stuff and just get to the nitty-gritty of all the lessons. When you go watch the replay and you're playing along at home, you won't have all the awkward moments in the video to wait through. You could just watch the whole thing without having to be fast forwarding or anything. Okay, so I will do a little bit of editing on the stream after for your viewing convenience, for your practicing convenience. But I am not an expert player. I am still learning. I'm just sharing what I know with you guys, and I will share with you everything that I know and new skills and new techniques that I learned. I will absolutely share those with you guys as well. Okay, so let's tune this thing. Let's pick our dough. That's gonna be my dough. Now, how do I establish that as dough in my head? What I like to do is sing do, ti, do. When you really dig into T, scale degree 7 of a major key, you really bring that dough becomes ingrained into you. You have it. Do, do, ti, do. Now we're gonna figure out what the middle strings should sound like without touching the fretboard, without doing the fret 7, fret 5 method. So if this is do, what we need is do, sol, do. Do, ti, do. If this is do, what is sol? Try to get it in, hear it in your head and sing it. Do, sol. Now, if you weren't able to get that, all you have to do is sing the major scale to get to sol. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. So that is the note we need for the middle. Let's take it up to do, sol, do, sol. There you go. Now we got the first two strings tuned. Do, sol. Now you can either sing sol to do, or you could just make sure you have an octave between the first and the last string. Do we have do to do? We don't. That's flat. I'm gonna bring it up to do. Do, do. This guy has a banjo-y type sound. That's what these brass strings do for you. If you want a banjo-y type sound, the brass strings are really great for that. Let me see. Now the string height on this guy is very low, and the strings are very soft, and just the minutest amount of pressure, I get a lot of rattling. So I gotta get a feel for this guy again, because I'm used to playing the ones with tougher strings, harder strings, and a higher string height. But a lot of my customers want to also be able to finger notes to get like a pizzicato type sounds, and for that you need something that has flexible strings and a lower string height. So it depends on what you want to do with your CBG. That's the CBG you want to build or you want to get. He detuned himself again. Sort of. See if I can grab the octave here. Almost. Anyway. So we just tuned by ear using the fret 7, fret 5 method and the do sol do method. I'm going to look at the chat, see if you guys have any questions. Okay, chatty chat. Okay. Oh, Adriano says, here in Brazil we have an African instrument called the berimbau. I'm sorry, I'm probably pronouncing that incorrect. Berimbau. One chord instrument, no musical scale. It is possible to sing Sebastian Bach, Jesu. Okay, my German is not happening, but eight. Mein Freude. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. But interesting. Interesting. So you guys have a diddly bow of your own in Brazil. Awesome. You know, I've never heard a berimbau. Now I have to look up a recording and see what they sound like. All right. What type of resonators do they use? What type of resonators do they use? Gourds or uh kind of like a skin drum type of thing? Oh. Adriano, I definitely have to look it up. Definitely have to look it up. I'm sure that I've heard the song, but I don't associate the title. I didn't know the title, didn't match up the title with the song. Definitely got to look it up. That pumpkin thing, says Peter Pepper. Okay. Yeah, common people. You would be a rich man. You would be a rich man. Every time you heard an American say, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. It's because we probably are pronouncing that wrong. All the time. Especially if you're Cuban. Cuban American. We pronounce everything wrong. Sorry, Maria. I didn't mean to... Maria is very well spoken. My friend in the chat, my musicologist friend in the chat, she's very well spoken. She's not like me. I am not that. That's why I'm gonna have to do a whole lot of editing, a whole lot of post-production to get this lesson to be usable by people out there. Anyways, any questions, guys? Any questions about the do sol do tuning? How long have we been here? Wayfair, Lawrence, put in the chat, or just knock on my door. How long have we been streaming for?
Oh, probably like 80 minutes now. But JP wants you to leave everything in. It's better that way.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's
Wouldn't that be annoying?
No, it's more fun. People that are annoyed by it,
they're not in the... Okay.
I don't know. They should take lessons from, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe I could leave up the original version and have an edited version for people who are...
Chat.
Okay. Chat, I think that's what I'm gonna do. For those of you who were more interested in the lesson than the chit chat, I'm going to have a nicely edited version of this lesson, so you do not have to be fast forwarding on YouTube. I know that can be a little annoying. You have a nice lesson that just flows from one subject to the next. Guys, I've never done live streaming before. I'm having so much fun. But I'm a little exhausted. I've been troubleshooting for a while to get this to work. I'm saying work in quotations because it's not totally working yet. I think I'm gonna need Lawrence to be reading off the chat, because even having the chat in front of me, I'm having a hard time to really interact with. Having a hard time interacting with you guys. But Lawrence, you know, if he could just read off the chat to me, and I don't like those robot voice apps. See, and he's doing a good job. So I'll have him do that. Anyway, thank you, common people. You're very sweet. But common people, not everyone is so forgiving, you know. You guys are like Darth Vader. When I meet the emperors out there, they are, you know, not very forgiving. So I gotta have a nicely edited version for those guys as well. Alrighty. So, to close the stream, I'm going to leave you with a word from my sponsor, which is me. Nobody else is sponsoring me except for me. So I'm gonna play a little commercial that I put together. All right, and then we'll say our goodbyesies. All right, and so hello there, my name is Mona Lisa, and I'm excited to tell you about Psyche Opera's merch store powered by Bonfire.com. I discovered my love for cigar box guitars through this channel and decided to let Dr. Liza Sejido use my image to create merchandise for other CBG enthusiasts like you. Our store offers t-shirts, hoodies, and sweaters in multiple colors and sizes featuring my image and that of my cherub friend. These items are perfect for upcoming cigar box guitar festivals, and if you play or build CBGs, they make excellent attire for craft markets and gigs. Best of all, every purchase you make supports Dr. Liza and her work here on YouTube. No matter where you are in the world, our Bonfire-powered store ships internationally. Plus, if you're a super sub, don't forget to use your promo code at checkout to get 10% off your order. So, if you like to see me rocking a CBG on your shirt, hoodie, or sweater, click on the link in the video description box to place your order today. Thanks for watching and have a fantastic day. Chaito. All right, guys. So, oh, I have the wrong. Okay, there we go. Where's my mic? Okay, there we go. You sing the back of my head again. Sorry about that. So yeah, that was my little ad. Um, and anyway, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this disaster of a stream, and I promise that next week I'm gonna have things put together in a more organized way. We're going to pick up next week on tuning with Pano Tuner for ensemble playing. Again, these instruments, these 3-string fretless guys with 151 tuning, when you configure them that way, if you configure them in any way, really, they can only function in one key and in all parallel keys. So, uh, So you're going to want more than one instrument if you're playing in multiple keys in a set with other people. And I'm going to show you how to use Pano Tuner to tune to a specific key. Again, Pano Tuner is not a guitar tuner, it's just a fundamental frequency tracker, and that's going to help us out for tuning for ensemble playing. So that's what we're going to start with next week. I have a note here as well. String. Okay. And another thing that we need to discuss in as far as tuning are string limits. You'll find that the top 3 strings on the guitar, for example, are designed to take a certain amount of tension, and so are the lower strings. Now you can play around with that a little bit, going on, tuning up. I think safely major second, minor third, but no more than that. And the same thing with the lower strings. And so if I found that if you push a string beyond what it's designed to handle, tune up. You can tune down as far as you want. If you want garbly, you can even go into the garble. Yeah, you're safe tuning down, but tuning up beyond what a string was designed to do, you can run into problems when you go above a major second or above. I've pushed it up to a minor third. I've popped strings in minor thirds, going up a minor third a lot. You really have to, you can make it work if your strings are well stretched. And next week, after we go through the Pano Tuner thing, I'll show you how to find a major second and how to find a minor third, so that okay, this string was designed for I don't know, E4. All right, what's a minor third above that? I'll show you how to figure that out. And you can do that with the aid of Panel Tuner very easily. You could do it by ear once you have the dough of your instrument set up, but I'll show you how to do it with Panel Tuner. Anyways, we're going to talk about ensemble tuning next Friday. And does the 1 p.m. time slot work for everyone, or would you prefer a later time slot or an earlier time slot? Let me know in the comments, and I will kind of take survey all of the comments and see what you guys prefer, and I'll go uh with the time slot that gets the most votes, I guess. And so let me know in the comments what times, if this time slot works for you, or if something else would work for you, and I'll take an inventory of all the answers and make a decision, and post an announcement. But I thank you all so much for joining me for this first stream. It really means a lot to me. These type of things, by the way, live streams really help out your YouTube channel, and something that my husband and I are trying to do is become income independent as artists. We want to make art. Uh, we want art to be part of our job, and that's what YouTube and other social media platforms allow you to do, despite all of their problems, and we know what they are. Now there's a way for artists to be independent, and we're trying to work towards that, and these live streams really help us out, and your engagement in these live streams really helps us out a lot. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. I'm gonna just read off everyone who is here. You guys are fantastic. Peter Pepper, Princess Fiona, The Wayfair Project, my husband, JP the Flipper, hello. Hey, we have a lot of people from the UK here. Common People, thank you. Adriano from Brazil, thank you. Peter Pepper, was it the Netherlands, right? Thank you for being here, Peter. Maria, thank you so much. Princess Fiona. Princess Fiona, I don't know where you're from, but thank you for being here. Did I miss anybody? Is there anybody that I didn't shout out? I want to shout out everybody. Oh, Lauren says this is a good time for Europe. Cool beans. Cool beans. There's a huge CBG community in Europe. I think they're more, they're more popular in Europe than they are in the Delta. Interesting. Yes. All right. Well, if I didn't shout you out, I apologize, and speak up in the chat next time so I can find you. Okay. Okay. It's gonna pass 8 p.m. here in the UK. Reference, good time for the stream. Okay. Well, since we got a lot of people from the UK here, I think the 1 p.m. time slot, I think we're gonna stay with that. But again, tell me in the chat what you prefer, and we'll see what we can do. Majority rules. So, okay, I made a little goodbye animation for you guys. Check it out. This keeps beep. Lawrence's alarm clock keeps going off. And say, keep streaming. Have to watch Rings of Power. This I don't want to. Aww. Common People. I think the stream. I'm past the point of diminishing returns here. So if I keep streaming, look, I'm already mush. So I'm gonna leave you with my goodbye animation. Chaito. Here we go.